what we're going to do is we're going to build a simple spinning holiday tree from TETRIX Prime parts. Most of this is from the starter set. A few pieces are from the new expansion set, and there's a couple extra pieces that aren't included in the starter set, but a lot of people would have extras of these, mostly connectors. So we start by building the base. We're going to build a part just like this. So we're going to do it by taking a 8-hole beam and putting a 3-way connector into each end like that. And then we're going to take shorter 4-hole beams and put one into each end like that. And then we're going to take the quick rivet connector and pegs and secure those in place. Like so. And now you'll have 2 of these parts, and you need 2. And face them like that toward each other. And here in the middle, we'll put 2 T-beam connectors and yet another 8-hole beam between them, like so. And then we will slide those in to either side. And then again, secure these with the quick rivet connectors. There we go. So that one's is the main part of the base, and this will be the top of the base. But because we want it to be a little bit taller so the servo can fit underneath it, we will add some short beams to each corner. Here we have 5-hole beams. And to keep these in place, we're just going to use 1 thumb screw and wing nut each, like so. Just one more to go. So there is your base. You could make this a little smaller or a little bit bigger depending on your preference and what parts you have available. But now we need to put the servo into it to drive the spinning motion of the tree. So we're going to flip it upside down and put a bronze bushing in the center hole of that center beam. On your servo, you need to attach the servo mounting bracket. You can see here I already have it in here. And then insert a long axle. Again, I've already have it in here. So I'm just going to make sure the axle is tight. Yes, it is. And then we're just going to slide this down through that axle, and the other side of the connector will snug into the holes, and you turn it upside right, holding that all together. And you take 1 thumb screw to the side and hold that servo bracket in place to hold the servo up. So there's that. Now when you're just using the prime parts that are currently available, what I had to do was basically stack the prime wheels to create a structure on which to rest the tree. So I'm going to get this in the Facing the right way. And when I put the first wheel on, I push it down only so far that the axle will hold in place, but leaving enough room so that another axle can go on top. And when I secure the set screw, it'll tighten all of these. So I'm going to go ahead and put the next stack in there. See, I tighten the set screw. That's in there. And then again, make sure the axle on the next wheel is just in there enough. You can see there's a little room on top for you to put the next one. And then again, secure the set screw on the side of the wheel hub and make sure that top one's tight too. And this is your basic structure for holding a tree, and then when it spins, the wheels and the top will spin the tree structure itself. However, if you have a 3D printer available, there is another option that will look a little cleaner. We have a part that is currently a prototype. We don't have it in production, but we have the 3D printing file in the build of this, in the build section at TETRIXrobotics.com. So what you can do instead is print 2 of these. We don't have an official name for them yet. Loosely we're calling them end connector with hub, and when you print them, it is suggested that you put this end at the printing base. It just seems to print better that way. And when you finish printing them, you will also have to create a set screw hole using a tap drill, a 632 tap drill. So you'll need 2 of those, and you can put 1 on each end of a beam. I have an 8-hole beam here. You can go use that, or you could use a taller beam if you prefer, and you have one available. But we will be using some of the longer beams to make the outside of the tree. So here is another way to do it. Tighten that set screw at the bottom. And then we do actually put a wheel on this one. We put the axle there. Again, tighten the set screw. And notice I don't have any axle extending out the top of the wheel. That's because I use the top of the wheel to place a battery holder for some mini battery operated lights. If you're not going to place anything up there, you can let the axle extend up above the wheel if you like. So that's the base. So we're going to set that aside. And now we're going to build the tree. For these, you need 4 sides, 4 corners, and these are pretty simple to construct. You simply need 15 hole beams, 4 of them, and 4 6-hole beams. You might notice I actually have one that's a little different. I didn't have enough of the longer beams, so I actually used slightly shorter beam and then put a different kind of connector in here that made the beam a little bit longer. So, just being resourceful, not bugging people for parts. So to make these, you simply take the long beam, insert a beam extension connector into it, put the other beam into that, and then you secure it with wing nuts and thumb screws, just like we've done here. So I have 4 of these. So now we need to make basically 2 A-frames. And I personally just like the wing nuts toward the bottom. I think it looks a little better to have the top of the tree a little bit cleaner. And these are where we use some of the linkages from the extension set. This is a 15-hole linkage. And what we're going to do is like this. And you set them on top, lining them up with a couple of the small holes. And then trying to keep them evenly spaced. And then again with a wing nut and thumb screw. You connect those. And we're not going to make these super tight just yet. You want them to have a little give because we're going to be, moving the tree frame a little bit, and so you want them to be able to move a little bit side to side. So don't over tighten these just yet. We'll give it a final tightening when we finish the construction. Okay, so now we have a short one to kind of keep this solid. We take shorter linkages. This is the 6-hole linkage from the extension set, and we're just going to kind of line it up toward a little bit higher up, but notice this won't come to a complete point. It'll be open just a little bit, and that's okay. Like so. Again, you're not too tight just yet. You want them to be just barely finger tight. But you can still move them around a little bit if you want. So we have one done. We're going to make one more. And another short linkage at the top. Again, about like that. So again, just barely finger tight so they can have a little movement. So now, so we have our base done and part of our treetop structure. So now what we're going to do is take these two A-frames and make a TP type looking structure from them. So to do this, we're going to make sure that our linkages already on the A-frames are facing out, so it looks nice and neat with all the linkages on the outside. And we're going to connect with 4 more linkages, 2 15-hole ones and 2 more 8-hole ones. and we're going to go right below the first linkages on the other side. And this is where a partner really comes in handy to hold things up, because it is a little awkward to do on your own, but I will get it done. Okay, so we've got it starting to come together. Now we're going to do one on the other side to mirror it. Again, don't try to tighten these down too much because we do need them to be a little bit flexible. Tightening with our thumb screws and wing nuts. Okay. And now we start to pull in, and this is where we will add the second short set of linkages. So, and again, these will go, should go in right below. The tops won't quite touch up here. We're almost there. The last one can be a little bit tough because it's a little bit at an angle. It's not exactly perpendicular. The parts aren't exactly perpendicular to each other, so a little bit of an angle. So okay, so now you get kind of the general shape, and you know, holding at the top and pressing down, keep it in place. Then you can go around and kind of tighten your wing nuts that are holding the linkages on. Okay, it won't ever be perfectly still and solid, but it's pretty close. So at this point we bring in our base and we will connect the battery and the receiver. So the servo wire will go into where it says channel 1 at the very bottom of the receiver pegs, like that. Then your battery will go in the top where it says bat. And you'll see it's blinking. That means it's all connected. So then we can add the tree top. Okay, and if you want, you can add some lights. I've have a little battery operated set of lights, I actually just put the battery in here and kind of wind it down and around. It's kind of a mess, you know, just like normal Christmas tree lights. Always getting into tangles and such. So, and just kind of weave them around, and you can add other decorations if you want, miniature ornaments, a little star, so whatever floats your boat. And then just kind of put the top one in through a hole just so it kind of holds it in place. There we go. And the battery just goes on like, there we go. So we have everything hooked up. All we need to do is turn on our receiver. And I had the trim set so that it continues in motion just a little bit slower. Actually, I don't think I have that quite straight, so there we go. Takes a little adjusting, so try it. Yeah, that looks better. And you can go faster, you can go reverse it. Like I said, you can play with the trim on the receiver to go really slow or faster. So that is our spinning holiday tree. I hope you have fun trying it out, and if you come up with a better way to build a tree or some other type of themed robot build like this, feel free to drop it off to us. You can email it to pjgraham@pitsco.com, and we'll consider it for the TETRIX Robotics website. So thank you, and have a good day.